Alright, getting my license plate blocker technology from Alpine Stars in place here. Alright, as the title indicates, I want to talk about my 2016 R1s. I've had this bike probably about 3 months. Oh, okay, almost 3,000 miles. Anyway, I've had it long enough to really kind of get used to it. You know, I think long enough to notice any obvious quirks or anything like that. And I had it long enough to work on it too. I've done a ton of things to this little bike. I don't know why I just called it little. I will tell you that I've loved this bike. I've loved it more than my last bike. It's just, I'm so pumped every time I get on this thing. You know, one thing though I gotta mention is, as a stock bike, it's all right. It's really fun to ride. It's kind of like firecrackers, man. Like, you know, when you're a kid and you get your first box of firecrackers and you have a blast setting them off, it's like nothing better during the 4th of July. You know, where all the other bikes are those little snap and pop things you throw on the ground and party poppers. Like, they're fun. This is truly so much different from the other Japanese sport bikes, in my opinion. And a lot of that stems from the engine, the quote-unquote cross-plane crankshaft. I know a lot of you say it's not truly cross-plane, but you know, the way it works, the power delivery is just incredible. I think the way this bike looks, rear fin thing, is like the reason I initially got interested in this bike. I love the headlights too. A lot of people don't like it, but it's usually Gixxer people, and well, there's a lot of subject area with the front end of that bike. Well, let me turn the key for a second. All this is stock up here, guys. But yeah, the running lights or the accent lights are just so cool. I think they look even cooler at night. The screen is great. You have so many options you can go through. You know, you can change the power to like 7 different modes. Same with the traction control. Slide control is for when you're leaned over and cornering. It's got lift control, which prevents you from doing a wheelie, or you can turn it off. You can put in a quick shifter, or it comes stock on the normal R1. The quick shifter works phenomenal. It's awesome. It's only upshift. It's not downshift though. So, you know, if you want to spend about $700 or $800, you can make it do both. And you got to get your ECU flash for that. Acceleration's pretty good. The stock tune is all right. The stock exhaust sound is okay, but it can be improved a lot. So, you know, the stock, like I said, this bike's like a box of firecrackers. It's just really fun. Once you do the upgrades to it that I have done, it is like a box of M80s. You blow up a few M80s and you're just like, you're giggling like a little girl every time you blow one up and laughing your head off, and it's just like, it literally never gets old, and it's one of the coolest things ever. And you just, it's like an addiction. You want more. What I have on mine, just as a disclaimer, is a full Aero titanium exhaust system. It's the Aero Evo 2. It's basically a racing system. I put on the AIS block-off plates. I believe mine were from Graves or some. I honestly don't remember, and I've done all the work on this bike myself, also, by the way. And it wasn't hard. It's so well built. It goes back together so nice. I took out the intake flapper. That was a small mod. I had the ECU reflashed by Superbike Unlimited. I went ahead and put in the FT ECU Active Tune module. That works like the Power Commander version. I forgot what it's called, but it'll adjust the fueling on the bike as you ride it, so it should always be perfect and true to the Superbike Unlimited tune. And you do have to reflash your, you know, you have to have them reflash it again if you're going to do that. What else did I do this thing? Oh, I have the TST Industries integrated taillight. I'll just show it. I kind of showed it in my last video, but I don't want to make everyone jump around. So it has a really cool feature where it shuts off the red part of the side that the blinker's on, if I've explained that good enough. It looks like that. Really cool. Once again, I think that's aftermarket, but that's like something an Italian superbike would have on it. It's just really, really neat. And obviously the turn signals are integrated. I've got the TST Industries undermount license plate. You can't see it because my gloves are there, but it's tucked in there real nicely. I haven't had a problem with police. I'm kind of willing to take the risk. I'm a grown man. Oh, I've got a lightweight battery. You can't really see that. I removed the whole AIS system. Like I said, I removed the exhaust valve or whatever it's called. That took some weight off. Really, this bike is at about 180 horsepower. I think it was 178 to be exact. And stock, most R1s come in around 165, 170 if you're lucky, on this guy's dyno anyway. So it was a significant improvement with the tune and the exhaust. I think I can do better with some other mods. And then I don't remember 100%, but I actually have it all written down at home, but I shaved like 20 pounds off of the bike or something like that. Maybe 30 or something. I'm going to go ahead and start it up and get my butt on it. I'm sure you guys would love to see what it's like to ride. Grab my license plate blocker technologies. Here we go. As you can tell, that exhaust just sounds absolutely incredible. I actually had to move the microphone on my helmet motovlogging setup so it's closer to my mouth. And I'm readjusting it right now, actually, because it kind of fell. Okay, it should be good enough there. But I had to move it because the exhaust was so loud, it sounded like I was muffled. And you could hear what I was saying a little bit, but the exhaust was totally overpowering it. And yes, it is more ridiculous in person than it sounds on this video. It sounds about normal on the video, but everything always comes in quiet over videos on the internet, usually. And I've got an external mic and everything. It's nuts. So it's about 10 times louder than it sounds on the video. Alright, let's pull away here. I will say, with this aftermarket clutch lever, I've got it adjusted so it's close to me. The stock clutch lever I did not really like. It had like a whole lot of, you had to release it a lot before it started engaging, and it messed with me. Another thing that didn't help with that situation was the stock ECU tune leaned out the bike a lot on the low end for some reason, and that honestly made it feel like a different bike on the low end. I used to kill it a lot, and I'm not somebody who lets out the clutch and kills things, like, ever. And yeah, I had a big problem with that. I was a little bit bummed out about it. And it wasn't like every time I rolled away from a stop, but if I had to roll away quickly or something, a lot of times I killed it. With this new tune and this better lever combination of the two, I think I haven't killed it since. It's so much better. I'll show you the quick shifter and some stuff once I get on a different road. So I came from basically a naked bike, technically a sport touring. It was a GSXS 1000F. It was similar to like an FZ10 or a Honda CB. Do they have a CB 1000? I think they do. I don't know much about Hondas. And when I first bought this thing, I had never ridden it. I just liked it so much on the looks alone and the performance stats that I just decided I was going to buy it. But after I bought it and I rode it out of the dealership, I was actually a little bit freaked out on the riding position. You are so incredibly high up in the air and so hunched forward. It's about as aggressive as you can get out of all the super bikes, I'm pretty sure. That it's a little intimidating at first. Now, the funny thing is, I would never want to go back to the naked bike riding position again after riding this. It is so much better in the corners. It feels like you're one with the bike. It gets you out of the wind on the highway. You're just so much more comfortable feeling. I liken it to driving a car in the proper seating position, even though it's slightly less comfortable than driving a car with the seat reclined back and way back far away from the steering wheel and stuff. Sure, that's more comfortable, but it's really not, it doesn't translate to good driving. And it, you know, it's just not, I don't know, it's more physically comfortable, it's less mentally comfortable, I guess is the best way to put it. So just be prepared for the riding position, and you know, if you're like me, you'll end up really growing to love it. It's just phenomenal in the tight corners and stuff too. Bike is very flickable. I hate that term, but honestly, this really is flickable. It's disgustingly flickable compared to my GSX, which is, you know, you have more leverage on those bars, but this is so much better. I will say on the stock tune, when you're riding at about 5,000 to 6,000 RPMs, which is kind of your cruising speed for a lot of people, it does this weird thing where it feels like it's running out of gas. So you'll be riding like this, and all of a sudden you just get, and you got to crank back on the throttle. That has to do with the tune. It's nothing wrong with the bike, but it's the tune has the bike so leaned out that it basically sort of is running itself out of gas, and you got to give it more throttle to get through it. That's really annoying. I would just say if you're going to buy an R1, a new one, just be prepared to do a tune, and you might as well do an exhaust while you know you do that. So let me see if I can pull over here and show you the racing screen. Okay, I've never actually really run with it on before. So let me show you how to get into the YRC settings. You hold down that dial right there. It's quick that time. You go to YRC setting, and that's how you adjust all the options on the main screen, as well as turning on launch control, enabling it. I don't know why it's off. It's kind of weird. I'll go ahead and turn it on for you guys. Put it on 2. Generally, the lower the number, the more aggressive. There are so many Harleys around here, it's crazy. You can turn on the quick shifter and lift control. I got it on 2. I don't wheelie everywhere, really. To get out of YRC, you just hold down the lever again. So let's go back, though. So I'm going to go into display mode, track mode. That's what it's called. See what that looks like. Okay, so you see how much more track-oriented that is. I mean, that's super cool. Alright, let's get moving here without getting hit by a car. Oh, I see. I was wondering why the tachometer wasn't doing anything, and it doesn't even start until 8,000 RPMs, which makes sense. If you're on a track, you're not going to be in those low RPMs, or you shouldn't be anyway. So let's see if we can get it to start. There you go. Just to give you an idea, guys, that was like a quarter throttle. Alright, we'll go ahead and bring it out here a little bit. God, it is just crazy fast. It's just completely mental. And I was short shifting there, as you can probably see on that. I mean, it is unreal how fast this machine is. It handles like a 600. You know, I've ridden a, I think it was a 2013 ZX6R, and this handles better. I mean, it's really shocking how well it handles. You know, 600 people like to say that 1000s don't handle any good. The twisties, and they could wax a 1000 or whatever. But if you had equal riders on this and a at least a ZX6, I think it'd be a really close race, and the twistiest of the twisties. I mean, it really handles amazing. These downshifts are just godly. Brakes are pretty good. That I would say is one of my weak points on this bike, though. The rear brake is like trash. I don't know why. I think maybe something might be wrong with mine specifically. It needs to be bled. It's just really mushy. It's not a great feel there, even though it works pretty good. The front brake is 7 out of 10 in my opinion. I've never tracked this bike, but I'm not a big fan of the front brake or fan, definitely not a big fan of the rear brake. I feel like they could be better. I don't know if it's just because I kind of have a fucked up back, but I find the seating position on this to be more comfortable than my old sport touring bike. I can ride this bike longer. Not sitting on my tailbone, but lean forward kind of on my crotch, out of the wind. It just is nice. Wow, that pothole would have swallowed any motorcycle and stuff, jeez. But yeah, really a fan of the seating position. It's quite nice. This is where this bike is at home, just these nice windy roads. But I've never had a maintenance issue on it. I know it's only got about 3,000 miles on it, but you know, around, I think, I don't know, 6,000 or 7,000, and way on early in the life of the bike, I was already having transmission issues with my GSX-S. Go ahead. Go. You're good. Where it was actually slipping down gears. And I kind of tried to ignore it, but it was probably dangerous. I also will say this is very, very well built. I've had this thing part way probably 30 times now for the different modifications and little things I do to it. I haven't even mentioned, you know, half the little things I've done with it. But the design is so easy to work on. It's so easy to take the body off or whatever you need to take off. You know, I had the whole front end off of it for the intake flapper. It's so well built. It's so intuitive. All of the fasteners and stuff are very reusable. Maybe it was just my inexperience back then, but on the Suzuki I actually broke stuff when I was trying to do modifications to it. Let me talk about gas mileage. I'm going to pull over here and see if I can get out of the race setting real quick for you guys. Actually, like, never been down this road. It's really weird. Might be a good little photo op here. Alright, display mode, street mode. So, 27.3 mpg. That is significantly worse than a lot of cars these days. It just drinks the fuel, especially with this tune. It is straight up bad. I'm going to try and do a quick photo. I feel like almost every time I get on it, I have to put gas in it. God, you know, if I could get down there, I can just do this, so. Okay. Let's get back before a car shows up. Oh, okay, I know where this is. It's at church. I once saw a guy get pulled over here for smoking weed next to the graveyard. I thought that was very strange. I can't imagine what the conversation to the policeman was like, or his mother. But I appreciate you guys watching. Hope you can like and subscribe. I'm just I'm just a new guy. I know you can watch Do It With Dan or Motonosity or any of these guys anytime. So when you go and watch these new channels and support guys like me, it's super cool. Really, really cool. And you know, worst case, you get a goofy video every once in a while when you hit that subscribe button or that bell button. But I'm trying to push out good content, and I really hope I'm Do It With Dan caliber sometime in a few years. But I'm just doing it for the fun of it. I got a good job. Look at that. Called a what are those called? Cobra? That's awesome. See you guys later. Adios.